Alright everybody, welcome to episode 14 of the CBR VFR hybrid build. As you can see here, the bike's torn down pretty far. Last episode we pulled off the frame to get it powder coated black. That's over there getting it done now. And I figured why have it apart, now's a good time to fix some of the electrical problems this bike has. Now this is a 2004 VFR800. It's called the Gen 6, which is 2002 to 2009. They have these serious charging issues which can burn out your stator. It'll burn out your regulator rectifier. It'll fry your battery. It's personally happened to me twice on this bike I can remember, maybe even 3 times. And there's a $55 fix that's easy to do on this bike, and it's super worth it, and let me tell you why. The last time this happened on this bike, the stator fried. I was on the freeway. The bike just died on the freeway, so I pulled off into the center shoulder. Big busy freeway, 5 lanes wide. Made a deadly dash to get off the freeway. I had to get off the freeway. It was just cars going back and forth. When I got back to the bike was gone, so I called the CHP. They had it towed to a nearby towing yard. Cost me, I want to say it was $250, some crazy amount of money. It's just a big hassle and it costs a lot of money, so you want to fix this as soon as you can. So let's take a look at the VFRness, and then I'm going to show you how to install it. Super easy to do. Also, if you want to be the owner of the bike when it's done, go over to the Patreon site, sign up to support the build series for as little as $1 a video. You can have this bike. I'm also doing monthly rewards to those of you that sign up to support the build series. I really need you guys to support these build series over on Patreon. It's what makes these build series possible, so go check that out. So here's the VFR harness. You can see it's a very simple thing. You can find yours over at wiremybike.com. Like I said, only 55 bucks. And what it does is it goes between your regulator rectifier and your battery. So up here we just got a couple connectors that'll go up near the rectifier. This piece here is really easy to mount, and then it's just going to route back to the back of the bike near the battery, and this will connect to your positive terminal on your battery. And it's got a new 20 amp fuse, it's got some zip ties, and a connector that's going to be for this wire right here. Super simple. It's fully plug and play, no soldering involved. Let's put it on the bike. So obviously if you guys are putting this on your bike, you've got your bike fully assembled. What you want to do before you get to this point is you want to pull off your side fairing. Lift up your gas tank just to route the wiring, and disconnect your battery, the positive and the negative terminals. Then after you get to that point there, come up here. This is your regulator rectifier. This is normally mounted right here on the side of the frame. And just take off the 2 bolts, and you'll see there's a big harness coming off this. And you can see here it's got one connector here and another connector here. Now this connector you can see is in really bad shape. It's already been fried, and I'm glad I tore this apart because one of the wires just popped off, and it looks like it's even missing the connector to connect to this piece. It's just been kind of Mickey Mouse wired. So I'm going to fix that, but normally you wouldn't even worry about this right here. You might want to inspect it to see if it's gotten hot, but that's a good example of how this charging system gets overheated and it just screws things up. So, but in this video here, we're just going to connect the VFRness, and to do that, I'm going to start with this one here. You can see this is the harness that comes off the rectifier. Comes this way here. It's a looks like a 5-pin. Then just disconnect it here, like so, like that. And then here on your VFRness, it's got 2 connectors that are just going to mate with these 2. There's only one way for these to go together, so don't worry about it. You're obviously going to put this male connector into this female connector. Make sure you push it in all the way till that snaps, and then you're going to take this male connector, put it in this female connector. So you basically just bypass these 2 connectors, the OEM connectors, from connecting to each other into the VFRness. Now that we have this connected, if you look right next to this connector here, there's another batch of connectors, normally in a covering here. This covering's really old and torn. So, but you'll see there's 2 connectors that look like this. One's got a red connector, one's white. Then this is the one we're going to work on. You can see it's got 4 wires going into it, 3 red wires and 1 blue wire. One of the red wires is red with a black stripe. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply splice into that wire using the supplied connector right here. Just going to take a pair of pliers and crimp it right on the wire. Now if you can't see these wires because this covering here is covering them, just cut it back a little bit, maybe an inch or 2, and you should be good. So let's just get this red with the black wire kind of pulled away from the other wires, and see if I can do this without, just put that right there like that. Come in with a pair of pliers and just crimp it. you'll feel it click as you crimp it. Next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna take this wire here, that's part of the VFRness, and you're just gonna plug it in right there. Like that. Piece of cake. So now all the connections are done. The last thing you're gonna wanna do is, this is the ground wire on the VFRness, and you're gonna wanna connect this to one of the bolts holding the regulator rectifier. I imagine you wanna use the closest bolt. So basically just run the bolt through this ground and connect it back to the frame. That's done. Now another thing you'll see up here on the VFRness is this device here. You cannot mount this to the regulator rectifier. It will not reach the bolt hole. Just find some other bolt up here that you can mount it to, or if you don't want to mount it at all, you can just tuck it in somewhere. You should be fine. So now that you've got all this connected up here and bolted down, obviously normally you'd have a frame tube coming down right here. Just take your VFRness and just tuck it inside the frame along here, and you know, maybe find a couple spots to zip tie it. Then once you come back here, you're going to see the subframe. Just run it underneath the subframe through here so it pops out the other side by your battery. You know, there's really no one way just to do this. I mean, just find the best route to get it from the front of the bike back to the battery. But I would say you definitely want to run it underneath the subframe because you don't want it to interfere with your seat or anything like that. Okay, so obviously I have this all torn apart and I just have wires everywhere. But normally you'd have your battery sitting about right here. You'd have your positive terminal going into here, negative going into here. So what you'll do now is you'll go ahead and reconnect those, but you're going to connect on the positive side. This is the VFRness. You're going to connect this on top of your stock wiring on the positive, and then just tuck this wiring around. You can see it's already got the 20 amp fuse in place. Just kind of tuck the wires out of their way, reconnect the battery and everything. Now, one thing I want to say about this build is we are using a lithium ion battery. Another thing you can get from Wire My Bike is a regulator rectifier that's made to be used with this type of battery. It's $150. It's from Rix, which is like the #1, you know, electrical component company. So I'm going to do that to this bike too, and that's going to end up fixing that burnt connections on the other side. And that new regulator rectifier will work perfect with this new battery. So once again, just take the VFRness, connect this to your positive terminal along with your stock wiring, and reconnect your negative, and tuck the wires out of the way, and you're done. It's that easy. All right, guys, I'm going to feel a whole lot better about having that VFRness on this bike, knowing that when you get this bike, it's not going to be breaking you down on the side of the road. If you have a VFR, 55 bucks for a VFRness can save you a lot of money and a lot of headache. So hopefully I get the frame back from the powder coater soon. I went ahead and went with a matte black to match this build. I'm working with the guys over at Cognito Moto to working on the custom triple clamps and the new upside down forks, maybe a new front wheel. The front end on this bike is going to be a huge upgrade. Normally the VFR comes with these conventional forks, and for this build, it's just not cutting it. So I'm pretty excited to see what Cognito Moto comes up with. I'm literally shipping them the stock triple clamp. I'm shipping them the front wheel. They're going to tell me which forks we need to get for the bike. It's going to be either something off of CBR, could be off of Kawasaki, could be off of Suzuki. We don't know. Whatever it'll be way better than those. If you happen to be new to the build, let's recap some of the things we've gotten done here. We got the Vortex rear sets on here off of CBR 1000. Had to make some adapters to make those fit. Got the whole rear swing arm rebuilt with bearings and seals, powder coated matte black. New sprocket, powder coating here. Look at those cool little nuts on there. Had the back wheel all stripped down and powder coated, flat black. And with this crazy new tire. And we got a new brake disc back here. Got some crazy looking spikes for the back wheel. And this is one of my favorite upgrades on the bike. It's the clear window clutch cover from Seb Speed. Very nice piece there. Something you normally see on high dollar Italian bikes. Here's the seat cover kit from LuiMoto they sent us. It's also got the gel kit installed underneath the cover here. Really nice multi-panel seat cover, traction material here. This is padded suede, more traction here, like a carbon fiber, you know, looking material here with red stitching. Super nice seat cover, and this is off a 2019 CBR 1000. Then down here, check this out. This just came in from LexTek exhaust. It's an all new header system going on the bike. This is the muffler can down here. I just got one stuck on there now. I'm going to look into doing a dual muffler kit on this, but we might go with one. We won't know until we get this on the bike. And to make this system black, I'm going to get it ceramic coated, but we won't do that till we figure out if we're going to have to do any welding on it or not. But really stoked about that header system. A couple things you should know if you do go over to Patreon to help support the build series and possibly be the owner of this bike when it's done. There's just some cool stuff that goes on over there, behind the scenes footage, You know, today I just posted a poll about graphics for the bike so I can get feedback from you guys. So not only would you be supporting the build series, the possibility of getting the bike, but you can also see some bonus footage and stuff like that. Go over to patreon.com/motopilot. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys next episode.